Hi friends, welcome to episode number 3 of our intercompany orders series. In this episode, we will discuss in detail about the three-legged intercompany order chain in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation. We are going to cover this video with two scenarios. One, we are going to have the three-legged order chain without direct delivery, and two, we are going to have the intercompany three-legged order chain with direct delivery. With that note, let's quickly jump into today's topic. So let's quickly get into today's topic of intercompany orders three-leg chain. And already we had discussed in detail about the agenda and these stuffs. I'm not getting into these slides. I'm just quickly forwarding these. And make sure that you watch the episode number 2 before getting into this episode number 3. And first, let's try to understand about the fundamental definition for three-leg chain. In case of intercompany orders, when company DEMF first creates a sales order for an external customer, a purchase order can be created automatically in company DEMF. This in turn prompts the automatic creation of an intercompany sales order in company USMF, right? So what it means is we already discussed in detail about what is a original sales order, what is the intercompany purchase order and sales order. We also saw the chain between a two linked chain in case of intercompany sales order and purchase order. But in this case, what we are going to do is if we create a original sales order, then automatically we have the purchase order created in DEMF and also the intercompany sales order created in USMF. In the previous tooling chain, what we did is we actually created the purchase order, which resulted in creating an intercompany sales order. Or in turn, if you create a sales order, which will result in creation of the intercompany purchase order, right? So this is basically a two-legged chain. But in case of the three-legged chain, we are actually creating the original sales order using which we want to deliver the electronic speakers to the customers. When we create the original sales order, the system automatically creates the purchase order and the intercompany sales order in the Dynamics 365. So this primarily constitutes a three-legged chain. The three-legged order chain consists of a sales order and a purchase order in the company DEMF. So this consists of a original sales order and a purchase order in the company DEMF, and an intercompany sales order in company USMF and an intercompany sales order. That's what we are going to see right now. But before getting into the video, primarily the demo part, we will be dividing this into two scenarios, right? So the first scenario, how are we going to cover is primarily without the direct delivery, and the second scenario will be with direct delivery, right? So without direct delivery, how are we going to do that? Let's imagine that the order is raised by DEMF for mid-range speakers for the customer, and once the original sales order is raised, then automatically the purchase order and the intercompany sales orders are created in the system, and we will follow the traditional path of posting the packing slip in the intercompany sales order, which results in the for subsequent receipt of the purchase order in DEMF, and then followed by we will be kind of posting the product receipt and dispatching the material. So basically the material comes inside DEMF, and then from DEMF dispatches the material to customer. But in case of direct delivery, that will not be the case. In case of direct delivery, it will be like the order will be generated, the original sales order and the subsequent purchase orders and the intercompany sales orders are generated. But in that case, the USMF is going to deliver the material to the customer. The material is not going to be physically received in DEMF and then DEMF processing the material to the customer. So, but make sure that you watch the direct delivery video which we published as part of the procurement and sourcing series before getting into these concepts of direct delivery and intercompany three-legged chain, right? So the first scenario which we are going to cover is without the direct delivery, we are going to process the original sales order. So let me get into Dynamics 365 screen. Right now we are in the legal entity DEMF. So as part of our demo, first we are going to create a original sales order in DEMF. So let me go to the accounts receivable or the sales and marketing module, all sales orders. So here what we are going to do is we are going to create a new sales order. This is for a customer. So primarily we want to supply a Datum Corporation with the mid-range speakers. Let's assume that a Datum Corporation is the customer. And then so you can see the intercompany is disabled. So we are primarily raising a original sales order. This is not a intercompany sales order. Let me click on OK. So this creates a original sales order in the system. Let me add the intercompany item. Make sure that we already discussed in the episode number 1, this item should be available in both the legal entities. So for DEMF, we have raised the original sales order. Original sales order is 000183 A Datum Corporation, which is the customer, right? So now, before you can directly save this sales order right now, let me save the sales order, and you can see the delivery type is stock. And right now, if I go to manage, you can see there are no intercompany chain which gets created. But what we will do was we need to create the purchase order and the intercompany sales order simultaneously, right? So in order to do that, what you have to do was, if you go to the sales order on the top, and you have a section called purchase order. So system, we have already configured the intercompany trading relationship, and we have the direct delivery vendor also. For example, let me show you in this case. Um, so there is a already we discussed about that configuring of trading relationship in episode number 1. So we are not discussing about how to configure the trading relationship for the intercompany order. But in case of the delivery, the vendor is picked by default assigned as US001. So that's the reason the system has picked the same vendor. So now we create a purchase order using the purchase order option in the sales order, in the original sales order itself, which will result in the creation of intercompany sales order in Dynamics 365. So on the action pane, sales order, click on purchase order, and then include this particular line US-001 for 2 quantity. So that is fine. Let me click on OK. So what happens now is the system automatically creates a purchase order and also the intercompany sales order accordingly. So let's go to message details. So this warning is fine, the requested shipping date, but you can see here the intercompany sales order has been created, and also this reference is primarily because of the setup DEM of 000183, which is similar to the original sales order number, and also a purchase order is also generated, right? So this purchase order uh, 000013 is the this purchase order which DEM of sends to USM of, and in USMF we have the intercompany sales order which is the 00 DEM of 000183. So let me close all the tabs, the notification pane. So now let me go to manage section. The manage section, now we can see that both the intercompany sales order is enabled. Whatever the appropriate references based on the form where you are, those forms will be enabled. So in this case, intercompany sales order is enabled and the purchase order is enabled. The moment if I click on purchase order, you can see that the legal entity will still be DEMF because this purchase order is generated in DEMF only. Because this purchase order is generated in DEMF only. That's what we have shown in the image also. So let me click on purchase order. You can see the legal entity will still be DEMF and the purchase order is in approved state. So let me go and confirm this purchase order, and then in the purchase order also you can view the intercompany sales order and the original sales order. If I go to manage tab, you can see the intercompany sales order. Intercompany sales order is actually this intercompany sales order, and in the purchase order we will also be able to view the original sales order. Original sales order is the sales order using which we are processing the material to the customers, right? So let me go to the intercompany sales order, and now you can see the legal entity will be changed from DEMF to USMF. Great. So now what we will do is we need to process this intercompany sales order. So let me quickly post the packing slip. We already discussed about how to post the packing slip and other stuffs. So let me go and check for reserving the material. Um, so just for 2 quantity, let me reserve the 2 quantity. Then let me go back. Then let me post the packing slip. So so by this means what we are doing is we are primarily posting the packing slip. You can see the packing slip is posted right now, and the next action which we need to do is we need to go ahead and invoice this particular. You can also see the status of the intercompany order is delivered, and if I go to manage and if I go to intercompany purchase order, for example here, for if we are in USMF and if we are in the intercompany sales order, then primarily this is an intercompany purchase order. The purchase order, what we need to be delivered to DMF is called as intercompany purchase order. That's why it is under the section intercompany purchase order. Do not confuse yourself with why it is showing as purchase order And in some cases, why it is showing as intercompany purchase order? It is showing as intercompany purchase order because we are in USMF. For USMF, this purchase order is a intercompany purchase order, and if we are in DEMF, then it will be a purchase order if the original sales order is opened. So make sure that you are in the respective forms. So if I go to intercompany purchase order, it will take us to the DEMF. So you can see now we are in DMF, but the material is not yet received, right? So you can either, in the last video, episode number 2, we actually completed the product receipt by getting into the product receipt page, and we also checked if we get into the product receipt, we can see the journal number is copied by default. But in this video, what we will do is we will use the product receipt posting option, which is available in the intercompany sales order itself. From the intercompany sales order, you will be able to directly post the product receipt. How you can do that? For example, if you go to pick and pack, you have the under journals, you have the packing slip journal page, and on the top you can see there is an option called intercompany, right? So you can generate the intercompany product receipt. So in the intercompany sales order, you completed the packing slip. Now inside the packing slip journal, you are trying to complete the product receipt for the purchase order. So let me click on generate intercompany product receipt because we have the all the related data using which we want to complete the product receipt. So in case if you want to do that, you can do it directly from the intercompany sales order itself. So now the status is still in delivered. Let me go to manage and then intercompany purchase order. Now the intercompany purchase order status must be changed to received, right? So we actually didn't come to the intercompany purchase order and posted the receipt, but we posted it directly from the intercompany sales order, right? Great. So now next what we will do is let me go back to intercompany sales order. Let me quickly complete the posting of invoice. Let me post the invoice for the intercompany sales order. Let me click on OK. So this will take the status of the intercompany sales order to invoiced, right? And then similarly, we need to go to the journals and you can check the same reference is available there. But in this case, you will not be able to post the invoice of the purchase order automatically. But instead, what you have to do is you need to go to manage intercompany purchase order, and then you need to manually post the invoice. So let me go to invoice section. Sorry, I just clicked on Proforma invoice. So let me go back, then click on invoice, and then great. I think it has taken the product receipt quantity. Let me click on post. So this will post the intercompany purchase order invoice. So which means the item which we ordered with USMF is primarily received physically updated, and it is also financially updated. You can see the same reference over here. And right now, if I click on manage, and then if we go to the original sales order, because ultimately we have not yet processed the material to the customers, because for Datum Corp, we need to send the speakers, and still the order is in open order state. Let me go back to the slide. So we process the material from USMF, and right now we have received it. And since we have received it and there is an intercompany order chain, we can quickly see in the system that the system is smart enough to reserve the material. So for example, if I go to inventory, and then transactions, you can see that the item is already physically reserved, so no other sales orders for which this can be used. So right now I can directly go to invoice and then generate the invoice and then complete this intercompany order chain. So let me select the all, and then let me click on OK. So this will complete the intercompany orders chain, and the invoice is posted. This is actually the original sales order invoice. So you can see the status of the order is invoiced. So let me go back. So now from the DEMF, the order can be dispatched and delivered to the customer. So this is primarily constituting the three-legged order chain. So in this case, actually it is without direct delivery, the three-legged order chain, what we have done right now. But we will see that how to do the same process with the direct delivery in the intercompany or overall intercompany order chain, right? So in order to do that, first what we will do is we will create a original sales order. In this case, what we will do is in the line when we add the item, the delivery type will be direct delivery instead of stock. And the moment when we save the original sales order, the automatic purchase order and the intercompany sales order will be created in the system. But in this case, the beauty of intercompany orders in Dynamics 365 is the delivery address for the USM of intercompany sales order will not be DEMF. Instead, it will be the Datum Corporation. So let's quickly get into Dynamics 365 screen. Then let me create a new sales order. So this is a original sales order which we are creating in DEMF. So let me create for the customer Datum Corporation. Then let me add the site and warehouse. This is not an intercompany order, and let me click on OK. Let me add the item number D001. So this is the mid-range speaker, and you can see the delivery type is stock, which we will be primarily changing into direct delivery. So since we have changed to direct delivery, the system what it will does is it will pick the intercompany trading relationship between the USMF and DMF, which we configured in the previous episode, and also the direct delivery configuration which we saw just before the starting of this episode in the item master. Since we have configured the vendor in the purchase, and also if you can see in the item master, let me also show you. You need to enable the direct delivery option, so which is available under delivery section. So you need to enable the direct delivery. Let me click on edit. If you enable this direct delivery by default, whenever the sales order lines are added, the direct delivery, it is primarily taken as a direct delivery item. So you can also do this like the way we did it in the sales order line. The moment the lines are added in the sales order, it will be of the delivery type stock. You can change it to direct delivery if you want. But if you want to do it always, then enable this in the item master. Let me save this. Let me go back. Um, Close this item. So the delivery type is direct delivery. So the moment when I click on save, the system is automatically going to create the purchase order in DEMF to procure the material from USMF, and the intercompany sales order in USMF to sell the materials from USMF, right? So so if I go to manage tab, you can see the intercompany sales order and the purchase order both are created on the top notification pane. Also, you can see the intercompany sales order and the purchase order got created automatically, right? So that's the beauty of Dynamics 365. So now in this case, what we will do is if I go to purchase order, um, which is the purchase order got created in DEMF. So the purchase order is primarily the DEMF. This is what we are in right now. Let me go and confirm this. But before confirming this, let me also show you another aspect that if I go get into the charges, because that's also one of the information which primarily sync between the intercompany sales order and the purchase order, right? So if I get into maintain charges, currently you can see there are no charges which are allocated. But what we will do is, let's say, imagine that USMF wants to charge a freight of $2.3 to DEMF, a fixed charge, right? So in that case, let's go to the intercompany sales order. The legal entity will change to USMF. You can see the change, it is changed. So now in the intercompany sales order, what we will do is we are going to make a charge of $2.3. Let me go to maintain charges, then select freight. Make sure that the charge code is available in both in USMF and also in the DEMF. That's the reason we also selected in the value mapping as our if you have seen our episode number 1 of intercompany order series. So let me put the value as $2.3. Then let me save this. Let me go back. So this primarily syncs the information of the charge code between the intercompany sales order and the intercompany purchase order. So currently you can see it is displayed as intercompany purchase order because for USMF, this purchase order is an intercompany purchase order. But if we are in original sales order, it will be displayed in the sales order as a purchase order and not as an intercompany purchase order. So to not confuse that, why sometimes it displays as a purchase order, sometimes it is displaying as an intercompany purchase order. This option is displayed based on which particular form you are. So since we are in USMF intercompany sales order, this purchase order is a intercompany purchase order, and that's why we are able to see it as a intercompany purchase order. So let me go to the intercompany purchase order, and then we will be able to see the same charges or carry forward or to the you can see that $2.3 is carry forward to the purchase order also. So whenever the USMF is making the order for mid-range speakers, it is also eligible to charge a freight of $2.3 to DEMF, right? So let me go back to intercompany sales order. So what we did previously is we were kind of posting the product receipt, and then subsequently we were posting the product receipt directly from the from in the previous episode. That's how we were doing it, right? So what I will do is let me go to the intercompany sales order. We are in the intercompany sales order right now. Let me go to pick and pack. Let me post the packing slip. And then let me go and reserve the material. Pick the material, update reservation. We just need 2 quantity, so that should be fine. Then let me click on OK. So this will post the product receipt, sorry, the packing slip. And once the packing slip is posted, this time I'm going to directly post the packing. Yeah, you can see the status is delivered. So the moment the status is delivered, this time we are not going to post the packing slip. If I go to packing slip, if I check on here, you can see that we are unable to generate the intercompany product receipt, because since this is a direct delivery order, what happens is system immediately when we post the packing slip for the sales order, once we post the packing slip for the sales order, the automatic product receipt is posted for DEMF, right? So let us go to manage and then intercompany purchase order. You will be able to see the status of the order is actually received, right? So we actually didn't post the product receipt. And at the same time, if we go to the original sales order, so we posted the packing slip in intercompany sales order, which resulted in posting the product receipt in DEMF. And if we go to the original sales order, let me go to the original sales order, you will also be able to see that the status is updated to delivered. So once if we post the transaction in the chain, the subsequent transactions got posted automatically, since this is a direct delivery, right? But I'm not sure what is the configuration which we have for invoice. Let's quickly go to let me go back. The order ID is 000185, so that is fine. Let me go to accounts payable, then all vendors, because I want to check what is the configuration which we have for direct deliveries, and based on which we will post the invoice. So let's go to the vendor and then click on intercompany. And then in the case of purchase order policies, I also clearly recommended you to read the headings before doing any configurations, right? So in this case, what we will do is actually the post invoice automatically and post invoice automatically in case of both the intercompany purchase orders and original sales orders or not marked. So in this case, what happens is even though we post the invoice intercompany sales order, it will not result in posting the purchase order invoice in DEMF and the sales order invoice automatically, because these both the configurations are related to direct delivery, right? So what we will do is let me enable posting the invoice automatically for intercompany purchase order, and I just want to bypass the vendor invoice workflow if there are any invoice workflow. This is only for intercompany vendor invoices, but I don't want to post the invoice automatically for the original sales order. So what it means is once I post the intercompany sales order product receipt, sorry, packing slip, the product receipt in the purchase order is automatically posted. Once I post the invoice in intercompany sales order in USMF, I want the invoice to be posted in DMF also. So that's the reason post invoice automatically we have enabled in intercompany purchase order. So let me save this. So that is fine. Changing the parameters, that is fine. So let me go to accounts receivable, all sales orders. Then the sales order is this 000185. And so in 000185, what we will do is um, so so this is the original sales order, right? So this is the original sales order. I just want this original sales order to remain in the status as delivered, and I want to manually invoice this sales order to customer, but I want this purchase invoice to be posted automatically. That's what we have actually configured. So let me go to the intercompany sales order and complete the invoicing. So let me go to invoice and then click on invoice, and so packing slip quantity is 2. Let me click on OK. So this will post let me go to the slide. So this will post the intercompany sales order invoice. So I want the system to automatically post the purchase order invoice in DEMF also. So let's see whether system does that. So now the intercompany sales order is invoiced. So let's go to manage and then click on intercompany purchase order. Then let's see whether the invoice, so we can see that the invoice is also automatically posted because that's what we have configured. So the moment intercompany sales order is invoiced, intercompany purchase order is also automatically invoiced, but I don't want the original sales order to be invoiced, right? So let's go and check the original sales order, and you can see still the status isn't delivered. So that's the expected behavior. And so this is how you can achieve the three-legged direct delivery chain. So here also, like I said, you can see the for the original sales order, the delivery address is, if I go to address, you can see the delivery address is Datum Corporation. Similarly, if I get into the intercompany sales order is the sales order of the USMF. In USMF also, the delivery address will be Datum Corporation. So this is the USMF, and this is the intercompany sales order. If I get into address, so here also you can see the delivery address is Datum Corporation and it is not DEMF, right? And we also saw how the charges is also synced between the two intercompany sales order and the intercompany purchase orders. And we also saw how we can automatically post the product receipt and the packing slip in the original sales order once we post the packing slip in intercompany sales order. And we also saw how the invoice gets automatically posted the moment we post the invoice in the USMF, right? So I know this is a very complex process. Make sure that you try this out in your demo environment, and that's the reason I've just picked the demo item number and the demo legal entity. You just need to select the appropriate customer and the vendor accounts. So with that, we are coming to the end of the episode. The next episode, we will be discussing in detail about the multi-legged intercompany order chain. And I'm sure that because we already covered all, I would say, the complex concepts related to the intercompany orders, and multi-legged chain is just an extension of what we have seen right now. And make sure that you are watching the episode number 1, 2, 1, 3 before getting into the episode number 4. And make sure you subscribe to the channel D3 Straight Talks or follow my profile in LinkedIn. Thank you.